Hey, what's up, guys? Mike Harrington here for the Armored League. I am with the final competitor we have to interview, Jake Meddaugh. Jake, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Dude, I'm doing absolutely excellent. We're about a little over a week out from this incredible event in New Rome City, February 7th at Ideal Glass. Just tell me the thoughts going through your head now, just 8 days out from this incredible event.
Oh, man, there's so much that's going on between now and then that my mind is just absolutely racing from all of it. I have my walk next week, and then, immediately, literally in 3 days.
Yeah.
And then next week is the fight, and there's still so much that I could be doing that that is the main thing on my mind.
Is the event on the 7th or the walkathon? Because the idea of walking 25 miles in 90 pounds of armor sounds, like a way more daunting feat than getting in a list with a couple of guys for a few minutes.
I mean, both, to be completely honest with you, because I am one of the lightest people on the roster for this fight. So that is a bit of a daunting, fact, but it is something that I'm used to. I am almost always the lightest person in a fight.
Yeah, but you also have the least surface area for someone else to hit. So, that's got to be, there's got to be pros to the cons, no?
Yeah, I could see that. I've definitely fought some people where they've gone below the helmet line. I wish that I was a little bit shorter for my weight.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So you have the worst of all worlds. You're a large target. You're a long target, but a pretty easy one to knock down.
Yeah, I mean, I am not easy to knock down. No?
Okay. I hear lightest
standing.
guy, and I assume, you're spending a lot of time picking yourself back up.
No, it's not a lot of time picking myself up. It's so much as any time I try to throw myself at somebody, I am normally just bouncing right back off.
Okay, all right, fair enough. That leads me to, the first question I'm asking everybody. What is your primary martial art? Did you grow up doing any of these martial arts? And is there any martial art where, you absolutely don't miss it? Like, for instance, a UFC on a Saturday or like a big boxing pay-per-view. Is there anything you're super focused on?
So growing up, when I was in kindergarten, I took karate.
Hell yeah, we all did.
Yep. I wanted to be just like the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
That only lasted for about a year, unfortunately. My mom couldn't keep up with the payments. Then Did you
ever get to like board breaking? Did you get to the point where you're breaking boards and stuff? No?
I got to the point where I spent most of my karate classes just doing push-ups in the corner because I couldn't follow directions.
Okay, makes sense.
But no, I never got to do the board breaking. I never even got to fight other kids. It was always just doing the katas.
The katas, man. It turned all the kids off. Dude, you know how many kids would be karate masters now if they just let us spar at 7 years old?
Yeah.
Dude, It could not keep my attention I'm not doing fighting dances. That's crazy. That's insane.
I don't have the mind to memorize like katas either,
Absolutely not. So is there anything to this day where you're like, okay, I'm locked into this. This is my thing.
So, later on, I did capoeira when I was in high school. Absolutely none of that influences any of my fighting in this because my gauntlets, they just don't let me do handstands.
Did it make you a better dancer?
Believe it or not, a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, of course I believe it.
I did it here in New York City a couple times, actually. The studio, I believe, is still open over by the Williamsburg Bridge. I haven't visited in a long time, but I believe that they are still over there.
Dude, you got to go back there and be like, look, I'm going to teach you guys some new moves. This is how you do it with armor on.
Yeah, and then the other influences I have, I was in the Marine Corps for 5 years.
Okay.
I did the Marine Corps martial arts program. I took that as far as I could as a Lance Corporal. And then while I was I was also doing some Muay Thai, Judo. I got really big at like the UFC gym over in Hawaii.
Okay.
And I was taking all the free classes that I could well, not free, the included classes that I could. Mm-hmm. And I got into a little bit of the like amateur MMA scene over in Hawaii.
You ever meet BJ Penn?
I did not. I never met him in person, unfortunately.
I feel like BJ just pops up, like he shows up wherever fights are happening in Hawaii. Like I feel like he's
his
he's
name
Beetlejuice for
there.
fights.
But yeah, and to this day, I would say that in the Marine Corps, the pugil sticks are probably the thing that most influences my fighting style.
That makes sense
in this sport.
So, okay, that's very cool. Is there any like, competitive demonstrations with that or anything where it's like it's a sport you could follow for like guys who are doing stuff you've never seen before with these like like weapon-based martial arts?
I have not seen anything with like competitive bayonet fighting. That would actually be a really cool sport to start.
That would be so sick.
Like competitive bayonet fighting, like I'd pay to watch that right now.
Yeah, right. Who wouldn't, dude? That's high risk. I remember I was hanging out at the Ruka gym with Pat Tenori before he closed it down. One of the coolest guys I've met, in this martial arts business, and he was like, I think he was in his 60s at the time. Like he was just getting ready to sell Ruka, and it was one of those things where he had like the sticks out, and he's just hitting like dummies while like Luke Rockhold is training with Sean Strickland like 2 mats over, and he's doing these like kendo stick drills. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he was like, yeah, like once you reach my age, it's like I just want to learn all the martial arts. Like I want to get nice with like pole arms and things like that.
Yeah.
Because like that is part of the martial arts journey. And just working on boxing at my age, not doing much for me, but I can get nice with some eskrima sticks,
Yeah.
That's very cool. Who has influenced you most in your armor combat journey?
So I would probably say it is every new student that I meet at Gladiators NYC.
Okay.
Because every time I have to re-explain the things that I think I already know how to do, somebody comes in and those directions confuse them so much that I have to completely rethink how I'm doing things. Ooh. And it opens up new doors for me. Like people who have been doing this for years, yes, they're super influential, but somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, they open so many more doors to me because I'm like, I never even thought of it that way.
Interesting.
You're absolutely right. A good example, I was teaching people how to do kicks in class. And then somebody came up to me and they told me that when they went off and they were talking to somebody else who teaches martial arts, that I had completely missed teaching him one of the most basic things, opening up your hips.
Okay.
Like, he didn't realize that your hips are where you aim your kicks with.
Okay.
And he brought that up to me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I failed you.
I'm like, yeah, because it's like once it becomes muscle memory, it's so hard to teach. Like, that's really interesting. I've never heard that answer before. That's so cool. So what would you say is like a thing, or I guess what have you noticed since doing that, since taking on new students and finding out these new things? Like, what have you actually been able to then take and apply to your game and use to turn the tide in some fights?
So a really good one has been I primarily use two-handed axe when I'm fighting.
Okay.
And I think that one of the things that I have really started to focus in on because of these new students has been engagement and disengagement, because people have different levels of timidity.
Okay.
And new people, they tend to stick back, they tend to hide a little bit. But a lot of the new people we've been getting lately have been really aggressive. They just want to press in on you constantly. And you can't just play a game of retreating the entire time.
Right.
Because then when are you ever going to score points? So I've now been focusing on trying to get those, my 45 on your 45 instead of just block and attack.
Okay.
Because the threat of pain doesn't work so well when you're wearing armor.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Like I talked to my friend he's a good boxing trainer, and he tells me like, the newer the guy is, the scarier it is, because he doesn't know how to friendly spar. He's literally never had people swinging in his head before, and he's reacting out of instinct to just load up and throw bombs. And it's like, that's a guy, you're not going to see that shot coming because that shot makes no sense. No one would throw that shot.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a complete beginner, so anything is possible.
New people throw so many curveballs at you would never expect.
Okay. That's very cool, and I think like not a lot of people who I've been speaking to have been talking a lot about how like the teaching and the training and drilling with your team can really up your game. So that seems like a pretty good, pretty solid advantage to have. Speaking of solid advantages, not going to be heading to Carolinas this weekend.
That is a big advantage for me.
It really is, right? Because I've been talking to so many people who are like, yeah, I'm going to go bust my ass and really go for it in 3 days and then turn it right around 6 days later and try to win a pro fight. I think it's only you and Emil who I've spoken to who are like, nah, I'm taking that weekend off.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I have replaced going out to Carolina to get my ass kicked with walking all 5 boroughs of New York City.
So tell me a little bit more about that. It's a walkathon for?
So we're trying to raise funds mostly for equipment, and also Gladiators NYC is actually our parent company.
Okay.
Is a nonprofit, Santa's Nights. We do a Santa's Letters program.
Love it.
So 25% of the proceeds are going to that.
Do you guys deliver around Christmas time? Do you deliver the presents in armor?
No, we don't deliver it in armor. That would be
it would be pretty sick.
We have in the past.
Okay.
The bigger issue is the logistics behind it.
Yeah. And also freezing in a tin can outside.
Yeah, the conduction on these things is terrible.
I'd imagine. Pick
up your helmet after it's been sitting in like below freezing weather, and your hands do not like that.
Yeah, dude, your hand gets stuck to it. Ugh. That's very cool. So that's you're doing 25 miles all around New York City?
Yes, I am. We haven't quite locked down the route yet, but the day of, I will have live GPS tracking showing my location as I'm making my way through the city.
Oh, that's so cool. And if people do want to, help donate to the walkathon, where would they head to?
So they can watch us on Twitch, the Armored League. On Twitch. And then also the website does have the donation portal up live right now.
Okay, well, dude, go fund this, because that does not sound like an easy feat. Especially, it's going to be the very tail end of January, as we're talking about how much it sucks to be in the cold in this thing, being outside for. I mean, that's got to take 25 miles in that much armor. That's got to take 12 hours.
I haven't worked out the timing yet, but I'm generally a pretty fast walker, but in armor, I'm slowed down to like an average walker.
Oh, this is going to be that is one hell of a thing to put yourself through before you got to go and fight all these guys.
I mean, we're going to have a van following me around, and that van's going to have at least 20 pairs of socks for me to change into.
You're going to look like Lieutenant Dan, dude. Every 20 minutes, change your socks. Who do you think is going to be the most difficult opponent for you?
Ooh, so I personally think that I am going to be the underdog of the entire tournament.
Okay, so anyone,
I'm confident that there's a 50-50 chance that I could beat Orion.
Okay. Wow, because Mando was telling me that's who he thinks he's going to see in the finals.
Well, I don't think I'm going to make it to the finals. Mostly because I've only been doing this for 2 years.
Okay.
Everybody else who's on this roster, they're all like veterans of the sport.
Okay.
And also, there is that weight advantage.
Okay, so I mean, realistically, then your first match is essentially going to be your finals. Like you're not saving anything in the tank for the next guy.
No, that's not true. My finals is the second round. I'm gonna get that first round.
Okay, you're gonna get the first.
I don't care who. I can fight the best guy there. I'm gonna make it to the second round.
I love it. Okay, so who do you think who is like that second round opponent you think you're going to see across from you, where it's like you're visualizing the when you visualize the event, who do you think is going to be across from you in your final match?
In my final match, I would love to get a rematch with Abid.
Okay.
I mean, the last time him and I fought, I was definitely thrown off by his style. Like, he was one of the first people I've done in a one-on-one fight that wasn't from Gladiators NYC.
Okay.
I've mostly done melee fights against other teams in other states.
So how do you? Because I was talking to Sam about this, right? And he said that he's mostly a boo-hurt guy. Like he's fighting, in teams, going to be fighting in teams in Carolina. So how do you think? How do you think that transition is going from team fights to pro fights and this one-on-one bout?
The focus is a lot different because typically my job in a melee fight is to go around and try and distract people from my heavy hitters. And sometimes my job is to find the biggest guy on the team, grab him, and make sure he's useless.
Okay. So hey, I'm going down, but you're coming with me.
Exactly. Or I hold him until I can get back up.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I make an excellent grappling hook, net, whatever you want to call it. I latch on, and you're not going anywhere. I have pretty good motion control. When I am holding somebody in a melee. I don't know. I think it might be because of how light I am that I've learned how to move my body around to make you walk where I want you to walk. Okay. And a lot of big guys, especially big guys, don't expect me to be moving you to where I want you to be moved to. Right. Who moves the big guys, right?
But like you're saying, it's so much of this sport is about foot position, cutting angles. So do you think, how do you think that translates the ability to move people inside in the clinch into a 1v1 pro fight where just getting the knockdown is not enough?
So that's the thing is that in this, I think what ultimately helps is that my endurance is up a little bit higher because of my role in a melee fight. But as far as the translation goes, it is difficult to translate because the strikes are worth a lot more in these pro fight scenarios. I admit that I have trouble with striking. Okay.
Huh. All right. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, though, if you get a knockdown is more points than is worth multiple strikes. No,
absolutely. Yeah. And I believe we are going with the ground and pound rule set in this. So if I do get somebody down to the ground, I take a dominant position. All those strikes are worth more points in the end.
Right, yeah, Johnny was saying that he tells people straight up, if I get you down, I'm going to knee you in the head until the ref pulls me off of you or you get back up. So it's there is definitely advantages there. And if you can control someone on the inside and dictate where their movement's going to be, I don't think you're an underdog by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I appreciate that.
All right. So what are your career goals in the sport?
My career goals, I would personally love to just, I want to be able to travel. I really want to be able to do the European circuit at some point. Okay. I don't necessarily want to be the best in the world, but I definitely want people to recognize my name. Okay, I get it. I want to have that unique thing that people are like, yeah, no, Jake is really good at this one thing. Haven't figured out what it's going to be yet. I'm trying to make it two-handed axe versus sword and shield, but we'll see.
So I was going to ask about that because Sam was telling me that he primarily uses a two-handed sword in melee fights, but for this, that's just not in the card. So how are you adjusting to is going to be sword and shield or?
No, I'm going to be going with a two-handed axe.
You are? Okay. I didn't think that was allowed.
No, it is allowed. Typically, there's a significant weapon disadvantage. Okay. When you're doing this, but in the rule set, two-handed weapons are worth double the points of a single-handed weapon.
Interesting.
To make up for the fact that I can no longer score points with two hands.
Right. Is it possible to jab with a two-handed axe?
I can absolutely sling it over my shoulder and get that jab in.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm talking like a poke with the axe or anything where, you could
stabbing?
Yeah, I mean stabbing or even using the hilt of the axe as
the pommel. It is possible to use the pommel as a striking edge. I typically go in with more of a slap.
Okay, so you're going sideways with the axe as you're engaging. Okay,
I'm not chopping wood out there.
Okay,
this is a lot more like that bayonet fighting that we were talking about.
Yeah. All right, sick. All right. What are? Whoa, sorry about that. How are you preparing for this tournament specifically?
So one of the biggest things is that I have an alarm set to make sure that I am eating all 3 meals a day going into this.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, I have pretty bad ADHD. And if I don't
forget to eat?
I forget to eat so often.
I wish I had that ADHD.
So I have an alarm set. It's like, hey, Jake, it's time for your food. Let's go. Because one of the biggest things I don't want to have a calorie deficit on the day of the fight.
Smart.
I am planning on carb loading the day before, making sure that that runner's delight. You get a spaghetti party or whatever.
Love it. Bananas morning of?
No. Bananas, unfortunately, I don't know what it is. They mess up my stomach, something awful.
Bro, I'm the same way. I gag, I choke every time I eat a banana, but I force myself to get a banana in before every time I fight because that potassium is just it's so helpful.
It is definitely helpful to get that potassium in there, but unfortunately, bananas are out of the book for me.
Okay.
Like, I get severe heartburn from bananas.
Oh, no. Yeah, you don't want to fight with that.
No, you don't want to fight with that. But I have also been working on my foot movement.
Okay.
Specifically, I feel like I am going to win this fight through my movement, and I haven't been focusing on striking as much. I've been just that movement. I want to make sure that I'm getting that circle in there. I don't want to get trapped. I don't want to get chased.
Well, I mean, a lot of guys tell me, Porter is the guy who they think they're going to see in the finals when I ask them that question. And from everything I've seen by him, it's just put your head down, get inside. I mean, obviously he has the wrestling background, but it's mostly that like Colby Covington style. Like, I'm just going to be in your face, stay at that Merab Dvalishvili. Like, I'm going to stay on you. Like, you are not going to have a moment to breathe. And it sounds like that's the kind of motor you're coming into this with. So I'm very excited to see that, especially if you two guys get matched up.
I am excited to see some exciting fights.
Yeah, this is going to be incredible. I'm super hyped to be having the front row seat to this one. I was just talking to Anthony, grand prize. I believe it's 2 million Satoshis on the line for this one.
Yeah.
What is your plan for that prize money?
My plan for that prize money? All right, so if I get this prize money, the first thing I'm doing is I am going to be buying myself a brand new titanium brigandine.
Okay.
Because I got to make myself lighter.
Okay, there you go. So what are you working with now?
Right now I have, it is spring steel.
Okay.
It's a bit on the heavier side. It looks nice. It looks really nice.
Sick.
But it is about 15 pounds.
Okay. And titanium is much lighter?
Titanium is so much lighter. Like, imagine the difference between, I don't know, the difference between holding a hammer and a mallet.
Okay. Yeah, no, massive difference.
Yes.
All right. Sick. That's very cool. You had your eyes on one for a while?
Yes, I do. There's a really nice one that one of the members on my team, he bought it a while ago. When it came in the mail, it was too small for him. He can't even get it buckled up. Like my first, if I get this money,
there you go.
Straight to him. Like, hey, that's mine now.
Hey, don't return that. I need that. All right, and then final question I have for you: who's been your biggest supporter in your armored combat career?
All right, so Orlando Mendez. He is one of the founding members of Gladiators NYC, and he's also my roommate.
Sick.
He has been extremely supportive. He gave me my first piece of armor.
Nice.
My legs that I wear.
Still rocking them.
Still rocking them.
Nice.
And he helps me train. He was one of the people that brought me into it.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I, we constantly are debating about strategy and all this stuff.
I was gonna say, if he's your roommate, are you guys just doing film study? Like instead of watching the game, you guys just sit down and go nah, this is what this team's melee fighting's looking like.
Every Saturday event, we're looking through the thing, hey, did you see that you did this over here?
Okay,
that was a good move right there. You should do that again sometime.
Oh man, I was gonna ask for the for Gladiators. Do you guys? I was talking to Sam about this. He said his team every time they have a training session, session, they'll go and get food, and then immediately after, as a team, they're all watching film together and calling people out on like, hey, you screwed up like this switch here, you should have made this rotation. Why are you catching a breath over here when you should be engaging? Like, does Gladiators do that?
So right now, our biggest armored event is our Central Park fights that we have every second Saturday of the month by the Metropolitan Museum. A lot of times our post fight from there is a lot of the breakdown and the teardown. And we're normally going through watching all the video on the van ride back to the community center where we store our stuff.
When everybody's super exhausted.
Exactly. When everybody's super exhausted, we're moving equipment. So that's another thing that I think gives me a little bit of an advantage. Every time I'm fighting in armor, it is a chore to get my armor there, and then I have to put it on, I have to fight. And then immediately afterward, I have to have some energy left over to be able to go and drag all that stuff
break
right
down
back
this
again.
whole thing. Now it's just, hey, I'm showing up and let's go.
Exactly.
I'm the talent this time.
We're going to have the armar stored there. I don't need to worry about carrying anything. I'm going to have the freshest battery ever.
Damn. That's super sick, and it's like honestly, not only are you gonna have the freshest battery ever, but you're doing this walkathon for the cause to for the greater good of everyone, and you're not doing you don't have the crazy grueling schedule of somebody like Sam Ride and I know Johnny Porter was doing Vegas, then he's doing Carolina, then he's coming to this, then he's got one other thing after, and it's like, bro, you're gonna burn yourself out versus somebody who is super focused. This seems like this is your Super Bowl. So I'm super excited. Super Bowl weekend, February 7th. We are going to be at Ideal Glassworks. Going to be super fun. 4 p.m. doors. Go on, get your tickets at thearmoredleague.com.